update coming in from West Asia, where tensions appear to be escalating very rapidly. U.S. President Donald Trump has claimed that Iran shot down a U.S. helicopter during a mission over the Strait of Hormuz. According to Trump, both pilots on board this aircraft, they are safe and they have not suffered any injuries. In a strongly worded statement on social media, Donald Trump has described the incident as an attack on the U.S. and asserted that the country will respond very shortly. Let me get you more perspective about what is happening there in West Asia and go across to my colleague Mayank, who's been tracking all the details. Good morning, Mayank. We are witnessing another escalation there in West Asia, dangerous escalation now. In fact, as far as the ceasefire is concerned, that has also gone for a toss, because in the last few hours we have seen attack and the counter-attack there in West Asia. Give us more details about what is happening there.
Good morning, Akansha, and good morning to the viewers. The way the things have shaped up, word ceasefire is no more existing, actually. In all practical purposes, it has been breached. So what happened yesterday, one of the attack vectors of US, it came down, and initially, it was under the central command that it was operating, and it was on a patrolling duty towards the Strait of Hormuz. Now, in that case, when it came down, initially CENTCOM did not come out with any details about it. But later on, it was the president himself, President Donald Trump himself, said that it was brought down by Iranian forces. Although the two pilots, they are safe and they have been rescued, after that we are hearing that operations have been launched. So what you see is actually in last 1 week, there had been multiple operations. Initially, Israel, it had operated and it had hit multiple cities, including the Kurg Island also.
Absolutely.
Now here we see that
attack and counter-attack that we witnessed between Israel and Iran, we are witnessing escalation between US and Iran at this point in time. Stay on with us, Mayank. I'll come back to you once again. Just hours after US President Donald Trump warned that America would be responding to the recent events in the Gulf, the US military has launched a new round of strikes in southern Iran. At this point in time, we are getting a statement from US Central Command known as CENTCOM that has now confirmed the strikes, and they have said that they've carried out these strikes on the southern part of Iran in self-defense. We also have another statement from CENTCOM in which they have said that US military forces have completed the self-defense strikes against Iran in response to downing of the US Army helicopter yesterday. In fact, they have said that in the last few hours they have struck Iranian defense sites, ground control stations, radar facilities near the Strait of Hormuz, using, in fact, precision ammunition from the US Air Force and the Navy fighter aircraft. So at this point in time, they have completed the self-defense strikes against Iran, and these strikes were in the southern part of the country, is what we are learning. Let me once again bring back my colleague Mayank on this. Mayank, just hours after US President Donald Trump said that America would be responding to the attack on the helicopters there in the Strait of Hormuz, now we are witnessing that already US military has launched a new round of strikes in southern Iran, and just a while back they have mentioned that those strikes, which were in self-defense, they are completed.
Akansha, there's a technical term which is used in armed forces, which is like rest and recuperation. It appeared that whatever the ceasefire time was since April 8th, it has been used by both the sides. In both sides, when we say jointly, it was the operation was launched by the US and Israel Defense Forces on Iran and Iran. So both sides have used this time to rest and recuperate, because last week only, on 3-4 days back only, not only Israel initially started operations on Iran. Iran had also launched lots of ballistic missiles towards Saudi Arabia and Israel also. Now here we see Israel CENTCOM, which is operationally looking after Middle East is the area of operation for Central Command, actually, in this case, and which is taking on the kind of operations which has launched the operations. So what you see is actually now US forces are also into the operation. Now what we see, how is it going to shape up today or tomorrow? Is it going to be a full-blown operation? Because the two issues on which the talks had started or mediations were there, which is making Iran agree to capping its enrichment of uranium, and the second point was to open Strait of Hormuz for all practical purposes. But on both issues, nothing has been achieved as of now. So let us see that will it be achieved through operations, and will this operation escalate to the extent under which those 42 days had been seen destroying each other, and missiles were lobbed on every side. Akansha.
At this point in time, in fact, we are learning that the ceasefire has gone for a toss because US has said that Iranian regime, they have attacked on their helicopter, and in retaliation and in self-defense is what US is saying, they have hit back at Iran. Attacks continue on the southern part of the country. Stay on with us. We have another breaking update coming in, a statement that is now coming from Iran because Iran has strongly denied US allegation linking Iran to the helicopter incident that has triggered a fresh round of American military strikes. The denial comes amid rapidly escalating tensions between the two countries following US operation in southern Iran. At this point in time, we're learning that those operations are complete. US military forces have completed self-defense strikes against Iran in response to the downing of the helicopter, and they have struck the air defense sites, ground control station, radar facilities. But that is something that Iranian officials have completely denied. They have rejected the claims that country targeted a US helicopter during the mission in the Strait of Hormuz. On that, we have another breaking update coming in. US President Donald Trump has outlined the condition under which US could rebuild Iran after the war. Trump was asked about whether US would be supporting reconstruction efforts in Iran once the war is over. In response to that, Donald Trump has said that US would be prepared to help, but added that America should receive a significant share of Iran's oil resources in return. He has said, and I quote, "We would help, but we will take half of their oil." This is what he said, linking any future assistance to the access to the energy wealth when it comes to Iran. Trump has said that we would be ready to help, but we will be taking half of their oil away. So he said that he would be helping in rebuilding the country after the war is over, but he has one condition, is that he will be taking half of the country's, oil resources away, is what we are learning so far. Let me go across to Ashok Sajjanar. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us. How do you look at what is happening in West Asia once again? It was just weeks ago that both the countries, they arrived at a ceasefire plan, but now we're witnessing that has been flouted. First escalation between Israel and Iran, and now another between US and Iran.
Yeah, so we've seen Israel and Iran, it happened, but then both the countries, at the bidding of President Donald Trump, they said, okay, we are not going to fire at each other. But of course, this is very tenuous, this is very tentative, this is, ceasefire is not a rock-solid permanent one, so we'll have to see how it goes. And then we have the statement coming from Donald Trump, that we will help Iran, but we'll take half their reserves of oil. So I think we've seen Mr. Trump lurching from one end of the extreme, one string of the pendulum to the other end of the extreme. So, as has been said earlier, that we should take Mr. Trump seriously, but we shouldn't take him literally. So I don't think that Iran will really be prepared to hand over, not to say half or any share of its oil resources. If the United States has in mind what it has been able to do with Venezuela, I don't think that will be possible, because if that had to happen, it would have happened much, quite some time ago when this conflict started on the 28th of February. But now Iran has dug in its feet. So I don't think that is going to happen, and the terms of truce, as may be agreed between the two sides, will have to take cognizance in a very significant way of the interests of Iran also, in terms of whether it is its oil resources are concerned, its frozen assets are concerned, and other issues of interest to Iran.
All right, so it remains to be seen how this pans out in the coming days. Thank you so much, former diplomat Ashok Sajjanar, for putting that into perspective. On that, we have another breaking update coming in, because amid the escalating tensions between the two countries, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has issued a fresh warning to US, sharing a post on social media. Iran's Foreign Minister has said, and I quote, "Despite the defeat on the battlefield, US has opted to test our determination. Our powerful armed forces will leave no attack or threat unanswered. Leave our region if you want to be safe. History of the Persian Gulf has seen many chapters on the dire fates of intruding outsiders. So that's an open thread that is coming from Iran's foreign minister, saying that leave our region if you want to be safe. Let me go across to my colleague Mayank on this. Mayank, a threat that has come in from Iran because a lot has happened in the last 48 hours. First, we saw escalation between Israel and Iran, and now between US and Iran, especially when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz. And hence, a warning that is coming from the foreign minister saying that leave our region if you want to be safe. History of the Persian Gulf has seen many chapters on the intruding outsiders.
Akansha, when the operations were launched, initially lots of claims were made from both sides, which is the US and Iran, both sides actually. And it was expected that war would get over soon, but it got protracted for almost 42 days. And in this case, what Iran has actually said is that, shown is that it had withstood all kind of onslaught of the joint operation by the Israel Defense Forces and the US forces. And what we see right now also, and they came for the mitigation talks, and they were continuing with the talks even after that. So what we saw is almost more than 90 days have already gone, and they are still there. And now, since last 1 week, we had been seeing that lots of operations were launched by Iranian side also, while I mean the other two sides, which is US and Israel Defense Forces, they had been continuing with the operations. It shows that they had been able to maintain some kind of an ability to launch not only missiles but also the drones. What we see in a way, it also shows actually, it is a reflection that things would not be easy in the coming days. It would complicate the things further because entire globe is facing in one way or the other hike in the cost of living because of complete stoppage of all kind of export from that region, which is very important for the whole globe. In a way, we can say that it had been contributing towards moving the whole globe, which is fuel and energy and chemicals which are used for agricultural purpose. They had been coming from that side, and also gases which are used to store the chips. That is also very important. So we are going to see more complications in the coming days if the two sides don't come back and start talking further, or they come to some kind of a middle point wherein it is agreeable to every side. Akansha.
All right, so remains to be seen whether there will be escalation in the coming hours, whether or not Iran will also hit back at the United States. Thanks so much, Mayank, for getting us all those details. But stay on with us.